Hey, what's going on, folks? Larry of Packmaster Dog Training here. So let's get right into it here today. Between yesterday and early this morning, I received a few phone calls from, let's just say, an organization, a group of people that wanted me to do an interview with a panel discussing the banning of e-collars, especially over what's going on over in parts of Europe, Scotland, and the UK right now. All right. And I said no. I had no interest, and they were kind of surprised, and I think they were a little disappointed. And they tried to convince me. They said, "Well, look, you'll be able to promote yourself. You'll be able to promote your work. You'll be able to promote your book. You have a book on e-collars." And I said, "No, that's not what interests me." Okay, and there's several reasons why, and I'll try to go over it here. For one, I saw an interview yesterday that James Penrith over in the UK did in support of e-collars, and he was on a TV show in the morning. I think it was kind of like the equivalent to our Good Morning America or something over here in the States, but this is in the UK. And he went on there, and they were discussing the possible ban on e-collars over there. And so of course you had James, who's pro e-collar. He's a dog trainer, sitting there with another woman. I don't know if she was a dog trainer or not. I think she was. And then you have the host of the show. And basically, it was horrible. James did a really good job in a really horrible situation because they set him up to fail. And here's the reason why, guys. You can't argue or debate with ignorance. You can't argue or debate with stupidity. You can't. You'll lose every time. You have nothing to gain. See, this isn't new to me. I used to do that. I used to try to convince everyone that this tool wasn't what they think it is, that it's not used the way they think it is. I used to do it ad nauseum, a long time ago. I did it a lot, and I was very successful on convincing people. I'll give you an example. I had a booth at a trade show one time, and I was there with Bruno, my Rottweiler, and I was the only dog trainer there, and I had Bruno there, and he was off leash, and I was doing demonstrations all day. Thank you, Jesus, that I don't have to do that stuff anymore, because I hated it, and it was a very successful day. I made a ton of money, got my name out there. And I remember there was one woman, her and her husband came by, and she was really impressed with Bruno, and she was loving on him, and she was talking to me, and she was a nice lady. But before she walked away, she said to me, she goes, "Oh, by the way," she said, "I don't agree with what you're doing." And I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" She said, "You're shocking your dog." I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Is that a shock collar?" I said, "Well, I really wouldn't call it that, but I know where you're going, and yes, it is." She said, "Well, you're shocking your dog." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Could I show you something?" She's like, "No, I'm not interested." I said, "Please, let me show you something." And she refused. I said, "Okay, I begged her, give me 10 seconds of your time." I took the e-collar off the dog. I put it in her hand. I did a little demonstration. I said, "Does that hurt?" And she said, "Well, no." And we did that whole thing, and she was like, "Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you're still shocking your dog." So I sat there and I talked to this woman, and I begged her to let me come to her home and do a demonstration with her dog. She said she had a big, out-of-control Saint Bernard. And at first she refused. I said, "Listen, I don't want you as a client. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I promise you, I won't even accept you as a client if you change your mind on the spot." I said, "But I guarantee you, you will change your mind." And after a while going back and forth, reluctantly, she agreed. So we set up a date, and I did. I showed up at her house the following week, and she had a massive Saint Bernard. I mean, they're all massive, but he was big, and he was powerful, and he was out of control. So back then, I used to do free in-home demonstrations. Again, I'm grateful I don't have to do that because I hated it. I didn't like trying to sell things. And I worked with her dog. I gave her my word that I would not hurt that dog. I wouldn't even make him uncomfortable, and she trusted me. I was able to convince her, and I did the demonstration with her dog. And she was really impressed. She really was. And I changed her mind, kind of. So what we were able to take out of that meeting was, okay, I see you're not shocking my dog. You're not, I understand. She goes, but I still would never use it. I said, fair enough. I totally get it. Okay. I said, but I just really wanted you to see that not everyone who uses this tool uses it like you think. I said, unfortunately, many still do. You are 100% right, but it's not my thing. And so she was never, ever going to use an e-collar, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I was able to change her mind. But think about this. I drive to her house an hour away from where I live. She's down in Nashville area. I'm up in Kentucky. You know, I spend almost an hour there, another hour back. I spent, 3-4 hours out of my day convincing one person that I wasn't shocking dogs. Was that worth it? Back then it was to me, because it used to really upset me when I saw people with that kind of mentality. It really did. It bothered me. These days, I don't try to convince anyone. I don't have the discussion with people. If someone even wants to have the discussion with me, I don't have it. I don't try to change anyone's mind. And here's why, guys. The things you say mean nothing. They mean nothing. You're never going to win that argument. If you have to have that discussion with someone, you're wasting your time. You just are. So talk is cheap. For me, I prefer to show people, okay? So I've put out so much stuff over the years, so much stuff, so much e-collar stuff, because I've done all I can to promote the proper use of the tool. The proper use, okay? I really have. I wrote a book on proper use of the e-collar. When it came out, I sent it to a few very important people, in my opinion, people I respect a great deal, and I wanted their feedback. I didn't know how to price it. I didn't know if people would be interested in it, and the feedback was, it was fantastic. And they said, there's nothing like this out here. This is basically a full manual, and people are going to really take a lot out of it. They said you need to price it between $30 and $35. They said, you're going to make a lot of money. I said, no. I said, you can't price it that high. There's no way. They said, it's well worth it. There is nothing out there like it. And I said, here's the deal. My goal isn't to make money with this book. It's to get it into everyone's hands, to convince as many people as we can that think one way about this tool, to show them what it's really about, but also to show people that are already using it the way it needs to be used. Plain and simple. And so I priced it, $10, $11. I priced it so anyone can own it. Plain and simple. That was very, very important to me. So I've done all I can over a long period of time. And listen, I've given away over 400 copies for free, because either people in the country they live in can't order it, or they literally just don't have any money. They're very, very poor. And so I've sent out over 400 free copies. That doesn't take anything out of my pocket. It doesn't hurt me. The whole idea is to convince people that there is a right way to use this tool, a very humane way to use this tool. And so until you can show people, words mean nothing. You'll never convince anyone of anything. And here's the other thing, guys. Unless you can show people that you can make magic with a clicker, you'll never convince people you can make magic with an e-collar. Can't do it. You have to be able to train a dog without tools. Another thing, as long as you're supporting people that still to this day promote and brag in videos about putting an e-collar on a dog that's never been trained with it, and then lighting it up to stop an unwanted behavior, we'll be fighting this battle forever. Plain and simple. Same thing with the prong collar. As long as you promote and support people who put a prong collar on a dog and then yank the shit out of it to stop a dog from doing an unwanted behavior, jumping, pulling, whatever it is, you're fighting a losing battle. You're a hypocrite. And it's going to constantly hurt the people who want to use these tools. So whenever I put out a video like this, there's a lot of hate that comes with it. I will get a lot of haters, and a lot of people will have nasty things to say to me. They will say it's arrogance and it's cockiness, and who do you think you are? Here's the deal, guys. If having compassion for the animal is arrogant, then I'm very arrogant. If what's wanting best for the dog and the dog training industry is arrogant, then I'm very arrogant. If it's being against people who abuse the animal with the tools, then I'm very arrogant. Plain and simple. I think Adam Katz put out a question the other day on Facebook. It was a great question. He said, if you didn't need money, would you still be training dogs? And my answer was, I don't need the money, and I still train dogs. My life is consumed by dogs 24 hours a day. Ask my wife and my kids. I have a very good career. I make a very good living. My wife makes a very good living. She's a vice president of a company. I don't need money. I live very comfortable. But I train dogs because I love it. It's my passion. I'm one of those weird people that do it because I want to. I don't have to. There's a big difference. So I never have to try to sell anyone on anything. There's a lot of people who will watch this and go, yeah, the asshole won't even return my calls. I want to pay him to train my dog. Because I don't have to. I do it because I love it. I love the animal. I absolutely am obsessed with training dogs. So that's why I refuse to do the interview. I prefer to let my work speak for itself, okay? Most of the videos I put out, there's not e-collars involved. I do put plenty of e-collar stuff out there, but you very rarely see with my dogs with an e-collar on. If you can't make magic with a clicker and a treat, you can't make magic with an e-collar. It's that simple. It is that simple. All right, so this stuff isn't new, guys. And James, my hat's off to you, buddy. You did a good job in a really tough situation. And there's a lot of people out there, guys, doing really good work and promoting good work. But you folks that support people that want to put an e-collar or a prong collar on a dog and show instant results, you're killing us. You're killing the whole industry, and you're giving these anti-e-collar people all the ammunition we need. And we will lose the tool eventually. You mark my words. And the bad part about that is once they could take your tools away, then they start banning the breeds. I love my pit bulls. I love my Corsos. I love my Rottweilers. I don't want to see breeds gone. I don't want to see tools gone. But you can't be a hypocrite. You got to do something with your actions, not your words. Don't argue with people. I've done it. I've done it long before a lot of you were ever training dogs. So these big YouTubers and marketing people today that put out all this shit and just put the prong collar on the dog or the e-collar and light it up. Come on, I get these clients from all over the country coming that have gone to these trainers, gone to their seminars, and you know what they say when they show up, a lot of them? Wow, that guy was a real asshole. Well, yeah, what did you think? You don't train dogs in 5 minutes. You don't train dogs in a week. It takes time, okay? But that's a little bit of my reasoning why I won't do interviews or talk to people and try to convince them that this isn't a bad tool. Because, like I said, as long as there's people out there abusing the tools, we're going to suffer. And as long as there's people supporting people that abuse the tools, we're going to suffer, okay? If we lose e-collars, it won't hurt me. My business is going to stay booming. I'm going to get the same results with the dogs, except I'm not going to be able to do the off-leash stuff I do with clients' dogs. Plain and simple. That's how it's going to change. Because I don't use the tool to teach anything. All right? I don't use the tool to correct the bad behaviors and eliminate bad behaviors. Okay? Plain and simple. Dog training is a lot more than that. If you want to hold on to the tools, you have to show it with your actions. So if you're a dog trainer and you're as concerned about this stuff as I am, well then get out there and start showing what you can do without the tool. And when you use the tool, promote it properly. Show the real way to use it. Now, as soon as I stop this video, I'm going to remember all kinds of stuff that I wanted to say, that I wanted to address, but it's hard. It's hard to keep everything in your head when you're talking on the fly like this, you know. But for the people that were disappointed that I wouldn't do the interview, that's why, guys. You're wasting your time. You're being set up to fail. The people doing that interview on that TV show, they were complete fucking assholes. You know, they knew where they were going with that right from the start. James didn't stand a chance. You can't argue with that, you know. And if I remember correctly, they were using an e-collar, they said, that went from level 1 to level 4. Again, that's not proper. You don't do that. You don't do that. You know, if you have an e-collar that a human being can feel on a level 1, like I think in the video that woman did, you can't put that on a dog. It's way too much. Then you're doing exactly what the anti-e-collar community is accusing you of doing. They are correct. You're going to harm dogs. You're going to hurt dogs. You're going to cause pain and discomfort, and that's not what we want to do. That's not what it's about. You understand what I'm saying? If you have questions, hit me up. A lot of you're going to be pissed. Go ahead and comment on it. I don't really give a damn. Okay? This will upset a lot of people. You're going to say a lot of nasty things about me. But as we've talked about before, I really don't give a shit. I care about the well-being of the animal. That comes first. And so the only people that this will piss off, okay, is people that are guilty of what I'm talking about. That's it. That's the only reason someone would be pissed off about this. If you're guilty about that, you're guilty of hurting the industry and making other trainers look bad. So keep on. Peace.